Washington Times front page for Tuesday, December 12th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. Data from the Justice Department shows more people die while being arrested by U.S. Customs and Border Patrol than any other branch of federal law enforcement. Stephen Diner reports CBP was averaging fewer than 13 arrest deaths a year from 2016 to 2020, but that total jumped to 48 in 2021 data released last month. That accounted for nearly half of all 105 arrest-related deaths recorded by federal law enforcement that year. The U.S. Marshals Service was second with 39 deaths in 2021, the most recent year that data is available for. No other agency recorded more than 10 deaths in that year. A campaign to oust the president of Harvard University has intensified after a revolt from donors spurred by what critics call a weak response to campus antisemitism. Valerie Richardson reports leading the charge for Claudine Gay's removal is hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, a Harvard graduate and major donor who said he's aware of more than $1 billion in paused and withdrawn donations. Gay, who assumed the presidency in July after 5 years as Harvard faculty dean, was criticized for her December 5th testimony before a House committee on rising on-campus antisemitism. University of Pennsylvania President Liz McGill, who testified at the same hearing, resigned under similar pressure on Saturday. After winning Michigan and Georgia in 2020, new polls show President Biden trailing President Trump in a 2024 rematch in both states. Dave Boyer reports CNN polls released this week have Trump leading Biden in Michigan 50% to 40%, and in Georgia 49% to 44%. In Michigan, the poll found only 35% of voters approve of Biden, with only a slightly better number, 39%, approving in Georgia. On his handling of the economy, 56% of Michigan voters said Biden has made it worse, while 25% said he's improved it. The results in Georgia were nearly identical. National politics reporter Susan Ferricchio looks at the tax fraud indictment and charges against Hunter Biden. He's scheduled to appear for a Wednesday deposition before the House committees investigating his family's business dealings, but has only agreed to a public setting, not a private event where he believes Republicans will misconstrue his testimony. The House is scheduled to vote later this week to formally endorse an impeachment probe into President Biden, but its committees say they already have evidence to link the president to his family's business deals. And finally, Andrew Salmon looks at turnout for recent elections in Hong Kong. The elections agency there reports voter turnout was just 27.5%, a record low. The elections were the first held after the Chinese government had passed a stringent new security law for the former British colony. Find all today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on social media at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.